What's up, guys? Anthony Monetti here, Project My Life. Last weekend, I went out to Connecticut, did a little bodybuilding competition judging for the INBF Connecticut Bodybuilding Championships.
Quarter turn to the right.
It was a great time, and a competitor asked me to review his physique. So today, I'm going to sit in front of the computer and give him a little feedback, and he did agree to me posting it up. So that's going to be today's vlog.
So I was on the judging panel with Dwayne Broadway and a few other, my wife included, Karen Monetti, former world champ, Miss Universe, and I had the opportunity to judge the competition, which is always a treat for me to step outside my day-to-day, which is personal training, even though I love that, and I get to jump into the bodybuilding world, which I love. So as a judge, you know, people come up to you, ask afterwards, and they ask you if you give you some critiquing, and I said, you know, absolutely, I would love to. So a gentleman, Carlos, number 5, asked me to give him some feedback. So I said, send me a video, and I'll review it. So here we are. I'm going to dive in and just give a little review on what I saw and what he could improve upon. And there's plenty of other people out there who might be able to, take advantage of some tips that I give away. I have been competing now since 1995, and being, when did I turn pro? I turned pro in 2008, so I've been a judge since 2009, and I just have a passion for the sport, and overall love seeing people progress and use bodybuilding as an outlet to better themselves in every area of their life. So bodybuilding is one thing that I'm only judging what I see. I don't judge the journey that some people take to get there. I don't judge, anything other than what I see on stage from the face down. So I have no idea about anything other than the body, the physique that they're presenting, and the way they present it. So I'm going to hit this play button here, and I'm going to dive in and just give some cues or some tips. Let me just lower the volume so it's not overbearing here. All right. So number 5, Carlos, we're in the front relax shot here, and running through your quarter turns, which is mandatory. I'll stop right here for a second. Good. It's actually not a bad shot. How could it get better? This is a symmetry round, and we're looking for symmetry, right? So these are the mandatory poses. We do our quarter turns. Those of you who are familiar with bodybuilding, you already know. If not, you should learn quick, because this is important. It's about, say 75% of your posing and 75% of your judging score gets, happens in this round, which is, literally quarter turning. This happened to be a larger class of the day, so there's more quarter turns. So practice your posing, and the better you can get at it, the better you're going to look. So right here, just thinking out loud for critiquing purposes, there is a, whoops, I don't want that. Look at Carlos's right hand compared to his left hand. So that's already thrown me off a little bit as a judge. You'd want that to be balanced, right? So it's symmetry. So some of these guys are, a little off. This guy is the one who won. He was closer, but still he was a little bit off. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want any glaring distractions when you're up there, right? You want to look the best. You want people's eyes to be drawn to you for good purposes. You don't want people's eyes to be drawn to you because you're not posing correctly. So that's one thing in particular, like rotating the shoulders and keeping the hands parallel to each other would be a good start point. Not over excessively exaggerating like number 36 is doing. And again, this is my critiquing. Take it or leave it. This is my honest feedback. But other than that, not horrible. Maybe a little slight bend in the knee here, which would increase the size of the leg, how it appears. Right, so you want balance, but you also want you want to look muscular, obviously, right? So big broad chest to a small waist to big quads. So if you're straightening up that leg and you're locking that leg out, maybe you see a little bit more detail in the leg. However, you're going to lose that shape of it. So you got to play around with that to try to get that leg to look as big as possible without taking away too much detail. So let's keep it moving. Next pose would be the rear relaxed pose. And I will pause it right here. I did watch. This is again a couple of quarter turns into it. So Carlos, was doing, I think, a decent job of it early on, but the more he started to pose, this started to happen with his back. And when you're up there, guys, this is a very natural thing. You feel like you're doing it right because you've been practicing in the mirror, but when you lose the width, it makes a big impact. So you do want to be wide, like number 9 looks nice and wide here. Even number, I don't know what his number is. This is the gentleman who won. He's scrunched up back here too. And I think the purpose of that is to show more detail in the back. But ultimately, it's not a muscularity round. This is a symmetry round. So you're looking for width. So if you're scrunching up back here, you're not able to, show that width. It's going to make a difference when you're on stage. Number 1. So I think actually somebody in the audience yelled, "Open up, open up." But you're in the mode, you're in the zone, and you think that you're doing it, but you're really not. So listen to people who are yelling at you, number 1, as long as they're giving you solid advice. And number 2, don't be afraid to loosen up the arms and kind of reset to get yourself situated. And again, practice. This was his first competition. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, right? So that's one thing. Don't lose that V taper. That's what the judges are looking for. And also, as far as the lower body is concerned, legs are a little bit too far apart, right? You don't want to look distracting. You want that X factor. So broad shoulders, small waist, big legs. So by keeping your legs out wide, you're not giving that V taper. You're actually looking like a block, right? So heels together a little bit closer. You can still keep your toes, facing out a little bit. That's going to get that shape in it, and a slight bend in the knees to put pressure on the quads. Number 2. Number 3, squeeze the glutes and tuck underneath. You see, by pushing your butt out a little bit, you're making those muscles back there look smooth. And ideally, you want to squeeze and tuck, really put pressure on the feet, and kind of like mimic a hamstring curl, because you do want those hamstrings to pop. Like this guy who won, he was doing it pretty solid for the lower body was concerned, because he did have some action back here in the hamstrings. And again, you can't flex fat, number 1. So number 1 is get the fat off the body and get as shredded as possible without sacrificing muscle, number 1. And on top of that, you got to make those hamstrings pop. I wasn't impressed with the conditioning of the competition. Again, it's a smaller competition, and it was a novice. It was a lot of first timers up there. So I wasn't disappointed. But just so you guys know, like, every body part is important. When you're being judged, from the second you walk out on stage to the second you leave. So make sure that you're posing and making sure your physique is coming on point. All right, let's get to it.
Hit it. Open.
And you're in this position for a while. You can see you're here maybe for 15, 20 seconds. So don't be afraid to reset. The other side, same exact thing. Arms can be a little bit more balanced. This shoulder dropping and this shoulder being elevated is a little distracting. You can rotate your upper body while keeping your shoulders level and while keeping your hands level. Would be my take on that, without being so far out. And again, this is my opinion. And this is based upon my years of judging and my years of competing. I prefer, when I'm looking at a physique, if I'm judging them, to be more balanced and more solid, right? Same thing with the legs on this side. A little bit more pressure on the legs. without being straight up and down. This takes away from the quad development a little bit.
Quarter turn to the right.
Here's one for the front relax. Front relax this is not horrible. Same thing with the front though. Bring those feet together a little bit and put pressure on the quads to bring more of that kind of that X factor for the bottom half. Top half looks good. Top half looks good, nice and wide, showing the smaller waist, broad shoulders. But again, those heels can be a little bit closer together, and you can still kind of bring the toes out a little bit. So you're creating that X factor. You can still get the quad development in there when you do that. You don't want a lot of space in here. You don't want a lot of space. It's distracting. And what else? Here's another thing that I don't think people think about. The judges are sitting down here, right? The judges are low, right? So when you're up there and you're leaning back, it's not giving your physique the best look, right? So this guy who won, number 8, is sort of doing it correctly, but elbows are too high. And if you can just kind of, once you get in position, just hinge forward a little bit and just show the judges what you're working with, because, again, they are lower, and that's standard across the board with any competition normally. What else we got here? Let's keep it moving, see if we get some shots in here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what we got. And also, guys, make room on the stage. It was a tight stage, but be friendly with your competitors. Don't be nudging them. It's not a good look. Judges aren't happy with it. I know it's a lot of frustration, and you may be a little annoyed, and you want to be showing the judges what you're working with, but it's not a good look for that. So there you go. Just move yourself around, create more space. Keep this going. All right, front double bicep. Same thing. Leaning back a little bit too far, maybe lean forward a little bit. And then put pressure on those quads. Don't forget the quads. Start from the bottom up. Put pressure on the quads first, and then work your way up. Toes out slightly, heels together about, 6-8 inches apart. Again, it's all different, me to you and you to the next guy. You got to figure out what works for you. But I would say bring those heels in a little closer. See if we can get some more shots in. I'm trying to make this video short and sweet, not 30 minutes long. And again, the more you pose, you start shaking a little bit. That's coming from practice, my man. Overall, I think you did really good for your first competition. Let's see, front lat spread. This is probably the most difficult to do. Again, looking good. Leaning back a little bit. Try to lean forward if you're going to lean at all, right? So you want to lean a little bit into the judges, because again, they're lower than you. They're looking up. That's a key component. Legs look better here because I see more action, but again, bring those heels a little bit closer, and it'll help out your posing a little bit, giving that X factor. Looking good.
Let's see you abs.
Relax.
I like the pink.
Next up, what do we got? Should be a side chest of some sort.
It's okay, honey. It's okay. Come here, Ellie. Come up here.
Side chest.
Starting with ground up and side chest. All right, let me pause this here in a spot. There you go. So get there and stay there. Don't reset, especially with these poses, because you only have a split second for the judges to look at you, right? So do your best to get there and stick it. When you're readjusting, it's distracting, and the other guys are still holding their poses. So our eyes are going to the other guys, right? So that's something to keep in mind as well. And again, when you talk about balance and you talk about looking with, making your body look as good as possible, this forearm here, trying to make it parallel to the floor. These guys seem to, doing a decent job of it. You're actually, when I do it, I suck my rib cage up, and I use that arm to pull my rib cage up. And that arm should be parallel to the floor. And you can kind of puff this chest up. This kind of really high shoulder and dropping that shoulder is a little distracting as far as the upper body goes. As far as the lower body goes, I would like to see you actually stand up a little bit, believe it or not. and it makes you look a little bit taller. It makes you look a little bit fuller and thicker. And also by putting pressure on the quads, it's, again, doing what we talked about earlier, it's making those legs look a little bit thicker. So standing up a little bit more taller and smashing whatever leg is on the side of the judges into the other leg. I could probably do a better job of this if I was actually doing it myself for you guys, but I just want to chop this quick video up for Carlos here. Those would be two cues for that. And let's see what the next one is. Oops, I missed the side tricep. Side tricep, boom. Here, bring that belly in a little bit. Exhale all the air out. You see how my man here, number 8, he's exhaling and he's showing his abs more. You don't want to be puffing that chest up too much. You want to be pushing that pec over to show the inside. See number 8, you can see the inner pec here, whereas here, not so much. So you can still push that pec over without having to arch too much, because this is a little bit distracting. And when you arch, you can't really see the abs. When you exhale and scrunch down a little bit, okay, you don't want to go too far because then you're going to lose your size, but scrunching down a little bit will exaggerate those abs and make them pop, as you can see with my man here. Now, legs, same exact thing we just talked about, the side chest. Okay, rear double bicep. Again, action. Why does it keep doing that? Action right here. Looks good in the upper back. Again, you see how you're leaning back a little bit? That's good. Hamstrings, make sure you pull up on the hamstrings. I know you can't, it might be a little bit challenging for you, the mind-muscle connection, to get those quad hamstrings to pop, but you want to put more pressure on that forward leg. This way you can have a little bit of room to kind of pull up that hamstring on the back leg, right? And you think about squeezing your butt and tucking your hips underneath to get those hamstrings to pop a little bit more. My man number 8, clearly has it, a little bit better of a position here, but not something that's horrible or terribly challenging to overcome. Simple tweaks. Not bad. There you go. You see, you start settling into it, and that's when it starts to pop. Good. Do that from the beginning, the whole entire time.
Rear lat spread.
So we got here. See rear lat spread. Rear lat spread. Spike that calf back. Rear lat spread and the rear double bicep are the same exact bottom half position, right? So don't be afraid. Bring that leg back. Show the hamstring, and then you work on the upper body. Always start from the ground up. It's easier to remember that by. Lats, this is a difficult pose, but not horrible. Other than that, it's my critique for that.
Relax. Quarter turn to the right.
What else we got? Let's see.
Biceps.
See the overhead ab. Pretty good. I would drop this foot down. You can really squeeze the quad when you point the toe and put that foot down. You can really squeeze the quad that much more. Okay, and that back leg, just put pressure on it so you can see more of that quad. Other than that, looks pretty good there.
Relax. Hands on hips.
Always get back in position and squeeze those quads. Again, the judges are looking at you at all times. This particular pose is not an easy one. Upper body doesn't look bad. I would use the same leg position as you do with me personally, as an overhead abdominal and thigh when you put one leg forward. That's me personally. I have messed with different positionings with my feet to try to get what works best for me. I found that to be the most pleasing for my physique. So you got to play around with this. At the very least, make sure you put pressure on those quads to get those get the most lines out.
Let's see a crab most muscular.
Next up, grab most muscular. There it is. Boom. It looks pretty good. I would do the same thing. Drop that toe down, that foot down. Don't lean over so much here. Don't lean over so much. You're losing all that muscle Oh, and here, judges can't see it if you're leaning over. See my man here, number 9? He was a little bit too upright, and you guys were a little bit too low. So somewhere in the middle where you can show and display all this stuff without scrunching down. Plus, when you scrunch down too much, you create like little, even though you're lean, you create little like rolls down here. You don't want that. You want to be full. You want to be muscular. So somewhere in the middle of those two poses is where you want to be, where you can still show your muscle, again, without scrunching over too much. And that toe, drop that foot down. It's big. Notice the little things in each pose carry over. So if you can just drop that foot down, you're helping out every other pose. If you learn to do that. What else we got here? I think that's it. I think that's all the shots. Here, big. This is what we were just talking about, right? Bring those feet in together, man. You have great symmetry, but here I don't see that because your feet are so wide. So bring those feet in a little bit, put pressure on them, and you can kind of create that X frame.
Front lat spread.
That's for posing, man. As far as everything else, you don't have any glaring, lagging body parts. I would say overall, just get bigger overall, and then squeeze those quads. Squeeze. We're looking at that. I see lines, but not all the time. And again, as a judge, we're looking all the time. Whoever was filming this was right next to me. Here I am over here. And yeah, same thing here. This is better. This is a better shot. Your arms look more balanced. This is good. You must have been more warmed up throughout the posing. And again, see how the front leg should be slightly in forward. See how this guy had great quads, number 12. But you see how like you can really see that quad and hamstring development by slightly bringing that front leg up and then smashing that knee over into the other side. It'd be easier to show this in a video of myself. Maybe I'll do one next. But other than that, you want to create, you look just too straight up and down here. I know you have quads. I know you have hamstrings. Just bring that front leg up a little bit. Again, this is strictly for posing. As far as what you can do to improve your physique, overall improve everything. It's a symmetry sport, so you don't want any lagging body parts. Here, this is a better side chest. Scrunching over too much, keep that chest upright. This is better than the first time you did it, so you must have been warmed up a little bit. But you see how this gentleman right here, number 12, this is what I like to see. He was more upright. He had that leg smashed in. This, it looks like one or two legs. I can't really tell what this looks like. I think you can make your legs look bigger if you use that front leg and really smashed it up against the back leg and stood up a little taller as far as that's concerned.
Side triceps.
Same thing with the side tricep. Exhale, bring the abs in a little bit. And again, lose this space in here. See the space in between your lower back? Lose that. So bring those abs in, tighten up, scrunch down. I think that's it. This video is 23 minutes. And I don't want to make it too quick, or too long, I should say. Let's see this one real quick. Last one. Boom. The reason why we asked for the shot, we specifically asked for a hamstring shot because nobody was posing their hamstrings. And again, it could come down to like, all right, well, this guy's got hammies and this guy doesn't. It could have come down to it. So we wanted to see, from a judging standpoint, everybody to display their hamstrings. That's not a common pose. That happens sometimes if the competition is close. And if we need to figure out where people should be, that's what we'll do. But this was just strictly a hamstring shot. And I can see you have hamstrings. They're there. But I didn't see them in a lot of your posing. And again, keep those feet a little closer together. What else we got here? I think that's it, guys. That's my my recap, a little bit on posing. Carlos, I appreciate you letting me do this. Maybe some other people could benefit from it. I'm going to post this up somewhere, and I'll definitely send it over to you so you can take a look. All right, guys. This sport is a long-term thing, man. You can make weekly improvements, monthly improvements, but if you're looking to really change your physique, be patient with it, especially if you're doing it on this end of the fence as far as the drug-free status, WNBF, or any other natural organization. It takes time, man. Putting a pound of muscle on a year is a lot if you do it correctly, and it'll make a big difference when you're on stage. So keep it up. You got a great physique, bro. This is a better angle. Great physique. Keep it up. Stay consistent, and let me know if I can help any further with programming or something like that, bro. All right? Believe in yourself. Trust the process. Practice patience. Peace out.